Good afternoon, everyone, on the Ethical Flooring Facebook page. It is the middle of December. Is it the middle? It is the middle of December.
Getting close.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. A few short sleeps before Santa comes and before we all say Merry Christmas over and over and over again. So, Kevin, how are you today?
Not so bad. Yeah. It's interesting. It feels like we're getting close to Christmas already, we're making plans, and the world in the construction industry and many other things seems to just kind of wind down, which is
Mm,
great. It's actually nice. It's really the only time of the year I find that we as a company and as an industry really slow down. Otherwise, we're going 10 out of 10 all year long. So it's a welcome time for us.
awesome. So let's wrap up our conversation. We've talked about nail down hardwood floor, what that looks like, and the supplies used, and we talked about the glue and how that's done, and making sure that it's troweled correctly to get that adhered down to this prepared subfloor. So now I'm the consumer. You've walked away and you said, enjoy your hardwood floor. So as a consumer, what can I expect? Number one, to be able to walk on my floor and not harm it. Number two, expect in that first month what can be going on. And then let's wrap it up with that final, keeping it looking great for years and years and years to come.
Sure. Yeah. So let's say you've just had a wood floor glued down, and the glue has some initial bond or some initial tack to it, which is great. That's what we need. But obviously, it's not fully cured,
Mm,
immediately once the board is gone in. So most definitely, you're going to want to be, careful with it over the evening, and if possible, don't walk on it.
mm,
Because you can, of course, you can shift those boards potentially.
mm.
And then if you shifted it and maybe it's only a millimeter or two, but you've created a gap in between boards, and now it's going to set fully in that position or in that shape. Um, Now you've permanently got a floor that has a gap like that, or
Right.
or potentially many gaps. So definitely best practice would be to stay off the floor overnight. I mean, really as long as possible, right? But sometimes multiple days is impossible. So if by the next morning you're lightly walking on it, and and using extreme care, I haven't found that to be an issue. But you obviously aren't going to be moving furniture or dragging, wheeling dollies
Right.
across it, or because that adhesive that we use does take multiple days to
Okay.
finally get to its true hardness. And we want to be gentle with it until that point. Maybe it's almost like when you're breaking a bone. And I don't know, that comes to mind because I've broken many of them,
Great
unfortunately.
analogy.
Is treat it gingerly and be gentle to it until that bone hardens again and comes up to its full strength. And adhesive works in very much the same way. So um,
Okay.
be gentle, be careful. On the stairs, your installer might have
Yeah.
some explicit instructions for you about staying off of them and for how long, especially with the stair nosing, because it's really
Mm.
being held completely with glue. And that's a huge pressure point when you're walking down the staircase, is on that nosing. So it's really, really, really important that that nosing sets fully before you start walking on it.
Just to go back for a second for the glues. Is it different glues that are used to create stairs as it is to install hardwood floor down on the floor? Because a customer might go, "Why? You told me one thing, and now I'm seeing a lot something else on my job site." So explain
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And there is a little bit of installer preference on
Okay.
that, to be honest. But the vast majority will use a construction adhesive like
Mm,
a PL premium. That's the most commonly used adhesive. And the reason for that is for the stairs. We talked last time how the glue for glue down hardwood or wants a little bit of elasticity, right? Because
mm,
the
right.
floor as a movement, say it's 2,000 square feet of connected hardwood, we want that glue to allow some movement. But when we're refining it down to just an individual stair, um, we're not worried about movement. In fact, the more rigid, the better, right?
Yes.
So quite often we'll use construction adhesive, which dries very rigid. It dries, like concrete, and that's fine. Some guys will use the glue down hardwood, and they'll trowel out the whole step with that same glue and put it in build it that way, and that's fine too. So it's a bit what the installer is used to and what they're comfortable with. But yeah, it's a little bit different needs on a stair when we're working with something small than
Right.
when we're working with a connected floor area, which has totally different properties and totally different needs.
So as your hardwood floor is getting installed, and I'm going to say this is the opportune time for you that are listening or watching on the replay here, is to go out at, well, number one, turn all your furniture over. It's your opportune
Yes.
time to take a look at all the little pads. So if you had carpet before and your chairs had those little plastic nail in things, it's time to get those off and go get some fresh felt pads. Even your dressers, bookshelves, anything that's going to sit on that hardwood floor, now is the time to go and make sure that it's protected underneath. Couches, even if you think it's an inanimate object and it's going to just stand there, somebody could bump it, and you want to make sure that it moves easily, safely, so you're not scratching your hardwood floor. So that's a great, while you're waiting to walk on your hardwood floor, that's a good little exercise to make sure that you have fresh ones. Even if you had them before, it's time to take them off and put some nice new fresh ones on. And once a month to give them a little vacuum as well.
I love it. That's the absolute number one tip you can
Yeah.
share, and that's what I used to tell people and sum it up in a sentence: is before you put anything back on your new floor, make sure it has pad protection on it, and it's just an easy test. Like you said, even before, or if you think it's something that's not going to move, I had a piece of furniture in my own home, and unbeknownst to me, it had a little nail head sticking out of one of the feet, and the furniture didn't move, I thought, but every time you sat on it, it moved just ever so slightly. And over time, by the time I finally discovered it, it had punched about 25 little marks into the floor, right? So,
Yes.
and these things wear out, these pads wear out, definitely
Yes.
on chairs that you move back and forth. They can wear out quickly, so like you said, check them every once a month, clean off. They'll also accumulate dirt and stuff, it seems, so you don't want that grinding into the finish on your new floor. So flip up your commonly used chairs, and especially, and clean them, and if they need to be replaced, replace them. That's the number one safety precaution that you can take.
And as we're going into the Christmas time, so if you got your hardwood floors done in September, October, November, or possibly we're just finishing up now, is head out and get everybody some slippers for Christmas to tuck into their stocking, or into an extra present or a spa package, because that's another way that you're going to be able to keep your floors looking beautiful for a long time. It's going to be a different feel, as we both know, Kevin, because I have hardwood floor in my home and you have hardwood floor in your home, that in the morning, the floor is going to feel maybe a little cooler. If you have radiant floor heat, you're at a bonus. But even just to foot, if you're used to carpet and now you've got hardwood floor, or a nice vinyl plank in your home, it's going to feel different underfoot. So why not go that one extra step and giving everybody a nice pair of slippers for Christmas?
That's a great idea, and it also leads into just the outdoor shoes discussion, because with flooring in any type, but especially hardwood, and well, carpet maybe even more so, but we say cleanliness is next to godliness, and that's used for many things. But if you want extended life cycle of your floor, there's no better way to do it than to keep it clean.
Absolutely.
Because all of that dirt, grit, whatever it may be, acts as an abrasive, almost like a sandpaper, and it will just wear away at whatever surface is on the floor. If it's carpet, it'll actually cut up the carpet in a microscopic kind of way, and make it wear out quickly. So as we're heading into, especially where there's rain and muck, and all your shoes, or outside shoes, are exceptionally dirty, leave them at the door and have something to put on when you get inside. That alone will extend untold amount of life to any floor that you have.
Because we're going to have a lot of people having holiday parties, and it's okay. I think there's great protocol that when you walk into someone's house, that you take your shoes off, and if they've got a nice comfy pair of slippers for you to put on, and you could even make it fun this time of year, get a whole bunch of funky novelty type slippers, and that could be a conversation starter as well. So Kevin, great topic that we've covered for probably the last 6 weeks. So let's wrap this up. And next week will be our last Fast Facts and Features on the live version. And let's wrap up 2022. So you got a little bit of homework. Let's talk about the growth. We'll use that pun of the trees that are outside. Use that pun and talk about the growth of ethical flooring in 2022. What do you think?
I think that's a lot of fun. You know, I for one can't believe it's December 2022 already. This is probably the fastest year that's gone by in my life, and perhaps that is the norm as you get older every year. But yeah, it's been an amazing year with some great additions to the team and some great additions to our product offering, and just really, yeah, it's also our 10-year anniversary right now. So it's a good time to sit back and look back at what this year brought, and all how excited we are for what the changes are going to do for the coming year.
Beautiful. Thank you, everybody, for watching today. We will be back next Wednesday at 2 p.m. for another edition of Fast Facts and Features with me, the brand ambassador, Jeanette Martin. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Jeanette.